Let's review Shargeek Storm 2 Slim Retro Power Bank. This is ArtIsRight. Before we start, subscribe if you're new and hit on the bell icon so you'll be notified every time I upload cool new videos like this. For full disclosure, Shargeek sent me these for review. All the opinions you're about to hear are my own. The main star of this review will be their Storm 2 Slim 20,000 milliamp hour battery, which you can see the battery cells on the inside. Very retro looking. I really like the design, what they have done, although I do have some suggestion as far as how they can improve this. I really love the LCD on the front, and the other thing that this can do as well is that it can output 130 watts of power. However, there are some things to note about that, and we're going to talk about this power brick a little bit later on in this video. For now, they have also sent me their capsule gravity. This is a battery as well. Now, you're just seeing the front right now that has a clock, the date and time, the year and everything. If I turn this to the side like so, you can see right now that this has a profile on the back, and inside here is one of these purple cells. Each one of these purple cells are 5,000 milliamp hour. So the thing about this is that this is a digital clock, is a multi-function clock as well. And when I tried to find information about this on their website, I couldn't find anything. So this is just something that I think they may be a production run or a test run or something like that. But you know, if you're interested in it, I'm just going to quickly go over what's available here. So you have that dot matrix LCD, which is really, you know, has that retro vibe to it. And if you flip this around like so, it goes into the timer mode. And there are 3 different timers that you can choose from. Now, if you ask me to cite what timer mode there are, I can't tell you because all of them are based on symbols and they're really hard to remember and hard to understand. So that's the one thing that I have for them as a feedback. This is that everything is just all symbolic based, and unless you use this on a daily basis, you're really not going to remember all those symbols. In addition to this retro vibe, the look, the LCD screen in the front, which can tell you time, there is one button to pretty much adjust everything. You would use this button to adjust the time, to set the timer and everything, and Shargeek really made it a point to just have one button on their product. It is really neat to see how that one button can function by doing long press, short press, and all these things, but unless you're really used to that, and even if you're used to it, you're really going to be prone to make a mistake making some of the settings. And I find that is probably one of the most, I would say, annoying things about interacting with this device. On the other end, you will have a USB-C type charger. And as I mentioned, this have a 5,000 milliamp hour battery, so you can charge this up to power the clock. But the other thing that you can do as well, and it also comes with this little cable, is that you can use this to charge your smart devices, whether that be your smartphone, tablet, whatever that may be. Just keep in mind that this is only 5,000 milliamp hour. It's not a lot of power. Now, the way how they have designed this cable is really neat. There's a little lanyard there that you can hang it from. Now, this may not look like much, but if I pull this out, this is just pretty much the capsule, and the cable is just separated like that. It's a short little cable, USB-C connection, but this is really neat because it allows you to plug in one of that USB-C end. So now you have a lightning connection, and you can use this as a phone or tablet charger, as I shared before. So right now, for instance, I can just plug in my phone and it's going to charge this up. Now, overall, considering what we have in the market today, if I want to charge my phone, I don't think that I would be carrying a power brick that is something shaped like this, because this has a lot of bulk to it, and I also have to run a cable between this to my phone. I would rather have a battery charger that has MagSafe capability, so I can just pretty much just put that on the back of my phone and be able to go with it right away. I'm an iPhone user. And if you're using another phone that's on the market, I mean, there are other type of Q chargers out there as well that has magnetic holding capability that you might want to consider instead of this. So overall, the shape, the weight, and everything, I would look at another charger instead. And like I said, this is not even on their website at the moment. So I'm not really sure if this is a trial run, if this is going to be a product or not, but I just want to share this with you. Now let's move over to the main star of this review, which is the Storm 2 Slim High Capacity Power Bank. In testing this out, there are a lot of really great functions about this device, and I will share with you my thoughts about them, and also some of the areas where I feel that Shargeek can improve as well. This comes with the battery itself. It comes with a little carrying case, so you can put the battery case in so that it doesn't get scratched when it's in your bag anywhere beyond what it really needs to go through. And it also has a USB-C to USB-C. This is only a USB 2.0 cable. It can do the charging just fine, but don't expect it to have high data rate transfer if you suddenly use this in emergency to link up your device and transfer files between hard drive or anything like that. All right. Now let's focus on the power bank. So this is a 20,000 milliamp hour power bank. You can see the battery on the inside. These are the purple cells. I think this looks really awesome. Each of these cells are 5,000 milliamp hour. Multiply them by 4, you get the 20,000 milliamp hour. The capability for power output wise on this power bank is 130 watts, whereas the USB-C can output up to 100 watt and the USB Type A can output up to 30 watts. Combine those together and you can use them simultaneously. You get a 130 watt power output total. The construction of this device itself is just built out of polycarbonate. It's clear, I mean, it's just plastic, but it's fairly durable. On the left and right side, or top and bottom, depending on the orientation you're looking at, this is pretty much just aluminum, and there is a slight recess on the inside, so when you sit this up, the entire surface won't be scratching against whatever you have on the surface of the table. It will just be the edge of the aluminum. I wish this was implemented throughout the device itself, because the moment you sit the device down on a table like this, well, pretty much the polycarbonate is just going to scratch against all surfaces that you put this on. One suggestion that I have for them, the way how they can fix this and still maintain the look, because they're really big on these yellow color things, just come up with a yellow rubber band or yellow band or something very similar to those wristband. Put one here, put one there. This way, when it's sitting on the table or anything like that, it sits up a little bit and there's less opportunity to scratch that polycarbonate shell, because it does look really nice and you generally want to maintain that look. So how does this charge? Well, before we get on to that, let's quickly talk about the LCD screen, which I find really neat. This LCD screen tells you a lot about the device. It tells you the temperature of the battery. It tells you how much voltage, the amperage, pretty much the wattage when it's being charged, how much is being put in, how much is being put out. So when you link this up to the device, you can see right away how much power is pulling. For instance, when I linked it up to my 16-inch MacBook Pro, it is pulling close to about 100 watt of power. In fact, it's usually hovering between 93 to 96 watts going out. When I link this up to my iPad using a USB-C connection, doesn't matter what iPad I have, it's usually pulling around, I would say like 27 watts or so. And when I link this up to my iPhone, it's usually pulling anywhere between 8 to around 12 watts of power. So that gives you an idea for the power that it's able to pull out of this device. And all of those were tested using USB-C. Although if you're linking this up to an iPhone, the USB-A would have worked just fine because it's not really pulling that much power. Same thing with the iPad as well. Although iPads now have USB-C, so you're going to have to do some adapting there. All right, beside the point, you can use this display to do some adjustment changes. There is a button on the side. So if I press and hold down on that button, you will notice that I go into this menu, and there are different menus that can do different things. This tells you pretty much the battery itself, how many voltage it is, the cycle count of the battery, which I think is really neat. It gives you the option to choose a temperature between Fahrenheit and Celsius. This one, you can reset the timer on the battery. So the moment you charge it up, it goes through this timer. There's like a timer on it, so you know how long it has been charging and so forth. It's pretty neat to see. I don't think it's quite as useful as, I found it to be, but it's just one of those data point that you have the screen real estate. Let's put that data point there and it makes sense. You can change the display timeout. You can rotate this display so that it's facing the opposite direction should you want to use your battery in that for orientation, for instance. You also have the ability to turn off the battery pack from here and pretty much exit the menu. All of these interactions, though, are done using this one button, and throughout the entire interaction, you have to either press hold and press hold again to confirm, or press the button to select the option, press hold to confirm. And I've found that I made mistakes to some setting every now and then, because you really have to pay attention to what you're doing and you really have to get used to it. But they really master that one button interaction, not something that I would say I prefer overall, but it does function. And even if you don't go in and change anything, this is still a fairly good power pack. So based on the different devices that you link this up to, you will get different charges. One of the claims that they have is that you can charge an iPad around 1.5 times. I haven't really tested this out with my iPad, and they also claim that you just need to charge this for about an hour and a half daily in order to pretty much top it up to like 100%. Now, I have tested this out on my 16-inch MacBook Pro, which is a beast. So it does consume a lot of power. I pretty much ran my laptop down to around 10%, and what I have done is use the USB-C to MagSafe charger cable that comes with the computer. So I plug in a USB-C here, put the MagSafe on the machine so I can do fast charging, and it was able to pull the power of this device until this goes from 100 to pretty much empty, and my Mac was sitting at around 50%. Mind you, this has a huge battery on the inside. So does it work? Yes. Would I consider a device like this if I'm going on the road and I need to be on power? Yeah. There are maybe some other options out there that has even higher capacity or even a bigger battery, but everything that you would go through a battery in general, I feel it's going to be a compromise. Either you carry more weight to carry more cell or find something that balances fairly well. I like the fact that this can pretty much charge and get a decent 50% charge or 40% charge rather on my 16-inch MacBook Pro. Now, if you have another Mac, for instance, let's say if you have a MacBook Pro or a MacBook Air that just takes 45 watts of power, well, you can charge this laptop 1.5 times from zero. So, I mean, that's pretty good in itself. Now, looking at this power bank, what do I think about it? I think it does the job what it needs to do just fine. It has 2 output, which is not the most that we have nowadays, but it works. And if you're charging your computer with this, you can then link up your device charging via your computer too, so you don't have to plug it directly into the power bank. During the charging and discharging, this does get hot, especially on the end. These aluminum end does act as a heat sink, and you do feel this device getting warm, but it's not hot to the touch that you can't pick it up or anything like that at all. And with this in mind, we have to talk about some of the other chargers that are on the market. There are some out there right now that has less capacity, but they also have a power adapter built into it. So you can pretty much just charge them into the wall. It charges its own internal battery, and it also charges your device at the same time. That's the one thing about this device that it does not have. There is no power adapter whatsoever, so you're still relying on the laptop power adapter, or the phone power adapter, your iPad power adapter, whatever that may be, in order to charge this device up by USB-C. So that would be one of those things you need to consider. And if you want to just simplify what you're carrying in the most minimum form possible, maybe some of the other power chargers that also has the power adapter and the battery built in may be something to consider. And this does weigh quite a bit. I mean, it's not the lightest device out there. It's not the most heavy either, but you are carrying quite some weight with you. So if you're using a backpack and you had to put this in your backpack, well, in addition to all the other equipment you're going to be carrying, you're definitely going to be feeling this one. But again, it's on one of those compromises that you really need to consider. Overall, like I said, I really love the design. I love the colors and the way how they use the whole thing. I've been using this. I really like the way how it works. I just wish it had certain functions. I wish that certain things were improved in certain ways. For example, like the rubber band, the polycarbonate thing. But these are just some of the considerations that you may want to think about choosing this battery pack. One more thing I want to add on as well is that Shargeek has been on a Kickstarter campaign for quite some time, and even this review unit that they agreed to send to me took about, I would say, between 6 to 8 weeks to get out to me. So if you order something from their site, it may not be as expedited as you want. I'm not really sure what their normal shipping time is, but I know that there has been some delay with their product, and even though their product right now are not on a Kickstarter campaign, it's just something to keep in mind. I don't think that the company is really out to cheat you and charge you the money for a device and not really send you anything. It might just take longer for them to send this to you, and it's just one of those risk factors that you have to consider as you're going through these things. Anyway, I hope that you find this review for a Shargeek Storm 2 Slim helpful. If you have any questions or comments about this battery pack, leave them in the comment section below. Give this a like, subscribe, and hit the bell if you're new, and in art we trust.